Welcome back to another episode on the Expand Your Awareness. Is it the 2.0 podcast? That's what I want to know. I've always called it the Expand Your Awareness 2.0 podcast. Why? Because back in 2018-19, when I had the podcast, I had the Aaron Doughty podcast. And then for some reason, I thought that once I revamped it, it had to be the Aaron Doughty 2.0 podcast. No one would have known. No one would have knew, but I said that it had to be the 2.0 podcast, and now it's like, well, everyone's like, where's the 1.0? Well, actually, it was a different podcast. There was a podcast I did, and then I stopped that podcast, then I did the 2.0 podcast. So what does this make it? Does this make it the 3.0 podcast? I'm not going to call this the 3.0 podcast. Maybe I could call it 4.0 because I like the number 4. It's an Aaron Doughty 44 in my Instagram account. So maybe the 4.0 podcast? No. We're just going to keep it back to the original. It's the Expand Your Awareness podcast. We're going back to our roots now. How about that? Now, you might be like asking yourself, it's been a long time. Maybe you're not even asking yourself that. Maybe I'm projecting that onto you. But in general, this podcast, this second YouTube channel that I'm going to be posting the videos of this podcast on, it's been a long time since I've done this. Why? Because I kind of went on a tangent from creating content altogether. Like, yes, I was making YouTube videos. However, I was making YouTube videos like once a week. And I was mainly focused on just running live events. And my energy was kind of spread all over my business and things I was doing. And I wasn't in my zone of genius. One thing I've realized about myself recently, when you think of vibration, when you're in your zone of genius, you're in a higher frequency state, and good stuff happens. It happens so much easier than when you're trying to do other things that aren't your zone of genius that you think you should do because of whatever rationalization. For example, for a long time, I made a video once a week. This last week, remember back in the day, I do daily videos on YouTube? I'm sharing this, by the way, just so you understand the energetic dynamics of passion and frequency and how that affects reality. So, daily videos on YouTube, I was kind of just making for a while. And back in the day, at my peak of energy input into my zone of genius, I was making 7 videos a week on YouTube and writing 6 emails a week. It was the time I was experiencing the most connection with my audience and the time I was growing the most. And then I kind of stopped doing that because I'm like, I need to run live events and do all this other stuff. And then a week ago, after I got back from 2.5 months of travel, I decided I'm going all back in. I started making a video a day once again. Like literally within a week, I made like 6 or 7 videos, which is like uncalled for because before that was like natural for me. And then it just 1 video a week. It was like hard for me to even pump out a video. This is the crazy thing about energy and frequency. When I make a video once a day, it is easier than when I make a video once a week. Explain that to me. Like, how do I explain that to you? I'll explain it to you. The reason that is, when I make a video, here's a couple different concepts to this. One, when you make a video once a week, when I make a video once a week, there's a lot of pressure for that video to do well. This is an idea from a book called Reality Transurfing that's called Increased Importance or Excess Potential. So when I make a video 1 time a week, I really want that video to do well because it's the one touch point a week that I have with my audience. And subconsciously, I'm like, I hope this video does well and I hope people like it. And this is my 1 time a week to connect to my audience. And there's a lot of that excess potential. Anytime you put something on a pedestal and you make it very important, you create resistance around it. All right. So 1, increased intention. What do you call it? It's excess potential, increased importance. That's one aspect of it. 2, when I get into a flow state every day, I get more and more in the flow state as time goes on. I'm getting into a frequency. When I do it once a week, I got to try to get into a flow state. I'm like, I'm in this foreign territory. I'm looking at a camera. Okay, my name's Aaron. I help people expand their consciousness. And I'm like getting into state. And I'm like, this feels so weird because I've only done it once a week and I'm forcing myself to do it. So it's like harder. But then I do every single day. And from every single day, it gets easier and more ideas flow through me. And I think the universe sends me more ideas because I'm stepping into this version of me more and more. Whereas when I do it once a week, it's like, well, you're kind of like half in, half out. You're not really in your zone of genius. It just feels harder. But the more I step in, the more the universe sends me ideas. So there's like a couple concepts there. One, excess potential is creates resistance. It's more important the videos do well. There's also means that there's an attachment to outcome. But when you make many videos a week, there's a little bit less importance on every video. And I don't need every video to hit. If anything though, making the daily videos. Secondly, I'm in the state more often. I'm more in the flow state. And guess what? When I'm more in the flow state, more ideas come to me. And then thirdly, the more I put out into the world of that value and I step into that version of me, it's like the more the universe sends me that reflection back. So that's one aspect of this whole situation, okay? So I start making the daily videos, and last week, sometimes I'm so hard on myself, especially when it comes to videos that go on my IG Reels on my main Instagram account. And I was posting like one video every 2 weeks. You might be like, why is Aaron like sharing all this content stuff with me? But I'm showing the energy behind all this, okay? So last week, I get onto that of YouTube, Instagram, and I decide I'm going to go daily. Whether the videos do well or not, I don't care. I'm just going to go daily because this is the energy output I'm going to put out. And I had a lot of guilt around certain things. One, the guilt was like, if I put out too much content, I'm going to annoy people. I'm going to be posting it to my profile and be like, who's this guy? And I'm going to get a lot of unfollows and stuff. I don't know why I had that belief, but I did. I don't want to annoy people. And then I was like super hard on if a video doesn't do well, there's this standard that I need to do like 200,000-300,000 views a video on IG Reels. And if it doesn't, then it's a failure. Pressure, perfectionism. But then I realized, you know what? I'm going to detach from outcome. I want to put out content to see. You just never know what videos are going to do well and don't. So a week ago, I committed to doing a daily video on Instagram. So I do an IG Reel on Instagram. I thought it would do well. It does okay. There's like 100. I know it sounds stupid to say because it's probably a lot of views to a lot of people that are hearing it. But I have like 400. I think now I have 450K plus on Instagram, all organic. Just a lot of it comes through IG Reels that I make and other things. But what I did is I went daily a week ago. First day, video does okay. Second day, video does okay. Third day, I post a video from my live event that I did in Los Angeles recently. It's on empaths and chakras, and I explain this concept. Honestly, I didn't think that video was going to do that well. Video gets it's at 1.8 million views in 3 or 4 days. It has literally brought in 30,000 new followers within the last week. So my Instagram account went from kind of stagnant because I was afraid to put out videos and afraid to put out content when I annoy people, to then just deciding I'm going to put out a video a day again, which, by the way, for me, my self-awareness, if I make a video a day, it just has always worked for me. It's how I grew my channel. But then I'm like, well, the YouTube algorithms change. It's all about quality now. I need to just make one awesome piece of content a day. That's what Mr. Beast said. But instead, I went back to my core of just making a lot of content, which it's always been easy for me to make more content. So I make that video a day for a week, and my Instagram account's now grown by like 30,000 in just a week. It's more than I've ever grown. I've never had 1.8 million views in like 4 days on 3-4 days on Instagram. And to me, it's just a reflection. Put your energy in this arena. Keep putting your energy in making content, because I do love making content. So anyways, the reason I'm sharing this with you is just to kind of show that I'm getting these reflections in my life, that putting my energy back in content is like the key for me, because I'm realizing that's my zone of genius. I kind of went on a tangent for a while because for the longest time I've had this vision and this belief that like who I need to be in the world, it's kind of like a North Star. I mean, I will say there's always been this North Star of like admiring people like Tony Robbins, Joe Dispenza, Bob Proctor, these people that have done incredible things in the world. And watching Tony Robbins since I was watching since a lot younger and wanting to be doing live events. And I do love live events. And I did do 2 live events over the summer. I did one in Sedona, Arizona called the Vortex Experience. We had 150 people there. And then we did one in that of August in Los Angeles with 300 people signed up. And that was really cool because we were supposed to get this one room that was kind of off to the side. That was it had been a very tight fit room for 300 people. But then there was this writer's strike that was happening at the hotel. And the guy that was leasing out the space, because it was a Hilton hotel, was worried that it was going to be loud because the strikers were going to be there protesting. So what he did is they ended up upgrading me. I ended up getting this other room that was much bigger that could hold 500 people. And then there was this separator wall and then this other huge space. So what I asked the guy is he was showing me the space a week before the event. And I was like, is it possible if no one else is going to be here? There was no other events going on when I was doing that event. Basically, they hooked it up and they allowed me to have this huge space that could normally fit 1,100 people. I got for just the 300 people that I had, which was really cool because then we could do everything inside the room. And it also was barricaded from the outside to where there was no windows. So it was I could get it really dark for meditations and stuff, and people could lay down for meditations, which was really cool. And there was just this, there was space to where there was no, even if there were strikers protesting, we couldn't hear it or anything. And it was just an incredibly cool experience. Very powerful, very magical in many ways. The energies always, the live events always take on a life of their own. And that was a 3-day experience, and people were so transformed. I mean, it was just so cool to see the guided meditations. It just felt so in alignment, However, the side effects of these live events, though, on my end, is one, it's a lot of energy. It is a lot of energy to do these live events, and especially to do them within a month and a half of each other. So I do this big live event, and then I take a little break, and I'm traveling. So I'm in that of Sedona for a month. Then I go to LA for 2 months, and I go to Venice. I'm staying in Venice Beach, which is one of my favorite parts. And I'm going to Erewhon every day, which is this overly priced, expensive, Whole Foods on steroids place that I absolutely love because they have a hot bar that's really good. And I'm there for a month. I'm in constant flux, and I'm man, I crave routine. I'm craving my routine back, my pitch black windows that I sleep in. Even as I look right now over at my master bedroom, I've got this tacky aluminum foil all over the windows. But I love my deep sleep at night with my blackout shades, my blackout room. And I'm traveling and adapting. It was just a lot. And I love live events, but what I thought originally was I need to be moving into my Tony Robbins phase of making lots of video or making lots of live events. And I'm the goal was 2024 to do 8 live events and to travel and do all these live events. And basically what I realized is, in an interesting way, I'm going to see how it feels as I move into this next year. However, as far as my mission goes and what my ultimate vision is to impact people. And what's funny is as I'm trying to be the Tony Robbins and go out and do live events, which I will be doing in my own way. However, it's funny because Tony Robbins is doing all virtual. He's moving mainly to virtual because you can reach more people. And I've had my 21-day challenges before that I've done where 30,000 people have gone through, over 30,000 people. And I've had 4 or 5 different 21-day challenges that are so transformative, but anyone can join from anywhere in the world. It's all done through Zoom. And I've seen, it's interesting because it's kind of always been in front of my face that I can have more impact online. Now, I'm still going to be doing live events, but it's just not going to be as many. What I want to do is fewer live events that are bigger. So instead of having 300 people, 500 people here and there, wouldn't it be cool to grow more on YouTube and Instagram and all these things so that when I promote a 1,000-person live event, I can book that up? That would be kind of cool. And then it's less times a year so that I have more bandwidth to like make more content, reach more people and all that stuff. So what I've realized is also that in life, I think, especially when it comes to business and like success in general, what happens is there's a certain set of skills or talent or passion or whatever you call it. Really, it comes through like hard work. I made a lot of videos and I got better at speaking. But what happened is in the beginning, you do stuff that's simple, like make videos. That's all I did for a long time. For like years, I just made videos. And then I have a business, and then I have employees, and then I have all this stuff that I'm doing. I have all these systems set up, and then energy gets kind of spread around because there's so many different things I could be doing. But what I've recently realized is that also takes away the energy from the growth of whatever the focus is, because now my focus is being scattered. Now, the funny thing is when my YouTube channel has grown the most, it's when I've been the most focused on YouTube. Wherever my energy goes is where my attention goes is where my energy goes. And I have like a YouTube person that I work with that helps me optimize my YouTube channel. And it was interesting because I realized that I kind of gave it off to him thinking, oh, he'll just, tell me the videos to make and stuff. And then I'll make the videos and then that's it. And he told me at one point, he's like, I work with all my other clients and all of his other clients, the ones that are the most interactive with him are the ones that do the best because they're the most like collaborating with him to help the channel get bigger. And I'm like barely reaching out to him because I'm so busy with live events and other stuff. And that was kind of a wake-up call to me that's like, man, your energy's not in your zone of genius. Your energy's not in where like your highest frequency is, where you're able to like really have bigger impact. So this last week, I go from making a video a week to all of a sudden making 7 videos in a week. And I know him and his whole agency were like, whoa, what is Aaron doing? Why is he making so many videos? But it feels good to have my energy back and my passion, like where I believe my energy should be in a way. And kind of going in the direction of where I want to be adding value into the world. So for me, what I've realized is that sometimes there's this belief about who you should be and you compare yourself to other people, but you can realize that like also you can do things in your own way and you can be your own person. Like I'm not trying to be Tony Robbins or Joe Dispenza or any of these other creators that are doing great work in the world. I am myself. And the more I own that, it's funny, the more I own that and the more I know who I am, it's like the more opportunities come into my life, like more podcast interview requests. I was on a podcast recently that is doing well. And I'm going on more podcasts and I'm passionate about that of doing podcasts and having people there that I'm talking to, spreading my message to other audiences other than my own. And I can just tell that the next phase for me is one of collaboration. It's one of like putting myself out there in a new way, of releasing my blocks and beliefs around I have to do it all myself, of owning my quirkiness and my weirdness. And the more I own what makes me different, and the more I also just do things in my own way, the more it's like the universe meets it in that way. So it's like, sometimes I'm like, oh, I need to do things this way. I need to do it the way someone else is doing it. When I realized I could just do what I want when I want to do it in my own passionate way. I'm like, oh, if I do a podcast, I have to go all in on a podcast. And I'm thinking, well, I'm not passionate about interviewing other people and just asking questions. I like having conversations. Okay, but what about my YouTube channel? I don't want to put that on my YouTube channel. And I'm thinking now, like, just keep things simple. I don't have to do like a whole bunch of podcast episodes like I'm doing right now. I can do things when I want to do it, the way in which I want to do it. And it can be different. It doesn't have to be just like everyone else. I will say though, things do come through easier, like this podcast episode. I don't feel like I'm forcing it, but I do feel like when I have someone there to bounce ideas off, a different version of me gets brought out. And that podcast I did recently, it's on a podcast called Know Thyself. with Andre. His name's Andre, and he's had like Joe Dispenza on and other really cool people. Those clips got put on IG, and I could just tell it resonates with people because I'm in a different state when someone's pulling information out of me versus me just talking to the camera like I am now. So I will be pushing myself, or not pushing myself, is push a hard word. I will be branching off and having some people come onto my podcast. If there's any podcast guests you'd like me to see me bring on, by the way, go ahead and put them in the comments below. Now, what I want to do real quick is I go through a little segment where I go through my Instagram poll that I did recently. Not a poll, but questions thing. I asked people, what are the most powerful spiritual teachings that have transformed your life? And I asked my audience that. And I want to share them with you because I'm going to go through some of them and maybe talk about some of them. But if there's any of them that resonate with you, maybe it's something you could look into. And there's some funny, consistent things in here. So it's like certain things have had a certain impact on people that I think will maybe inspire you to look into these different things to see if maybe they change your life. Now, also let me preface this by saying that this is my audience. So in the way that it's probably biased towards the content that I make. I didn't say what is my teaching's strongest idea. Did I say that? Let me see. What's the lesson teaching that's had the most impact on you? That's a question I asked. So it's not like what is the biggest teaching thing that I've taught, but people may have just assumed that. Let's see. As I'm going through this right now, a lot of consistent thing I'm seeing is letting go. So letting go of outcome, letting go of attachment. I know a lot of people follow me because maybe they went through like a breakup. It's funny going through a breakup, like in the moment, it is so painful. After my last breakup back in September of last year, I went through a breakup where it was very painful. It was a form of it was a level of betrayal that was involved. So it was a feeling of like an abandonment wound and a feeling that came up that I had to really process. And it was very challenging. And instead of dating and going out and like distracting my energy, what I did is I was living in Driftwood, Texas at the time. And what I did is, which is like it's like kind of outside the city a little bit. And I was in the middle of nowhere processing emotion and sometimes waking up at like 1 or 2 in the morning, like releasing anger, releasing stuff that I knew it was beautiful because the ending of that last relationship was a reflection to me of that energy that I had to process that also came from childhood. And I was able to release it. And I went through months really of processing and feeling past emotion to heal it. And the more I would let myself feel the aloneness, the abandonment, the betrayal, the more I was able to feel it, the more I was able to heal it. And then as I did that more and more, it's like over the course of those months, I kind of in a way fell in love with the process of myself. And I fell in love with being single. And I fell in love with the energy of just enjoying being. I realized how much I think I needed. Like I was so used to having someone there for a 1.5 year relationship or whatever it was, that I forgot what it was like to be in my own energy. And what I realized about myself was I started letting go of the person, the story, the betrayal. I had to forgive the person. I had to forgive what the person represented, which was the past energy to my childhood. But also I fell in love in a way with myself. Not in like an egotistical way where I fell in love with myself, like, oh, Aaron, you're so amazing. And like grandiosity, but I fell in love with just like being in my own energy. And what I would do is I realized like how much work I'd get done by just staying at home, not just work like distracting myself, but like my subconscious mind, the way that I work is being at home for me and just like chilling at night with the music playlist on and meditating. It was so rejuvenating for me. And I realized I'd get a lot of ideas and I do a lot of inner growth stuff. And at that point in the breakup, I also like became fascinated with Vedic astrology. I was like studying the Vedic astrology to a point now to where I can read charts and stuff. Like I don't read for people or anything like that, but like I love studying Vedic astrology and I became obsessed with learning about it. And I realized just how much I thrive on self-reflection. And then what happens is the more I would love myself, the more I go into my own energy. I just could tell like my energy was becoming more and more magnetic. And it's funny how when you don't want a relationship and you're not focused on it, I really believe, I see it happen so often, when you're not wanting and desiring a relationship from a place of like, when is it going to happen? I hope it happens. I hope it happens. When you completely let go and you just commit to yourself, it's a lot of times when it happens. It's when you're not looking. Because when you're not looking, you're being present. And when you're present, there's a magnetic energy about you. And when you're in your own frame of reality and you're focused on things in your life that you enjoy doing, you'll find that there's a different energy about you. And that's magnetic. When you're in your own frame, you are magnetic. When you're tuned to someone else or you're trying to find something outside of yourself, you disperse your energy. This also gets down to the next thing I'll talk about, which is the frame technique. Very often in this like question things on my Instagram, the frame technique, bringing awareness into my body/lower chakras, the frame technique. Literally it just says the frame technique. Meditation, the frame technique, meditation. So the frame technique is very simple. The video that went viral, by the way, on Instagram that has 1.8 million views is pretty much on the frame technique. And it's about bringing the awareness into the body and feeling the separation between you and someone else. You and a wall. You and candle flame. As you feel the separation, you start to feel the safety in your own body. That creates magnetic energy. Frame technique changed my life when I applied it years ago. I started realizing what was my stuff versus what was other people's stuff energetically. As kids, what we do is we expand our energy field when we're kids to include that of mom and dad. And we then tune to mom and dad to get that validation and approval. And we're wanting them to help us feel safe and validated. And if we didn't feel that way, then we think there's something wrong. There's something wrong with me. I must mitigate and be different to get mom and dad to feel safe or mom and dad to feel less tension so that I can feel less tension. But then the energy centers, the bottom three energy centers of the root, sacral, and solar plexus, which are energy chakras, the bottom three chakras, the energy goes from out of there and into the third eye to tune to the environment to get safety, validation, and approval. But what happens is then people are morphing to other people to feel safe. And that is not magnetic. When your energy is projected out at other people, they can feel, like imagine people feel what you feel. If you're feeling lack and anxiety and you're thinking of someone else, you're sending them what you're feeling energetically. You're sending them anxiety and lack, and they're feeling that. Then they think about you or they look over at you and they can feel that energy and it repels them. But when you're in your own magnetic frame and you're present and your energy's inside of your body, in your bottom three chakras, and you're feeling inside of your body, and you don't need anything from them, that's when the energy comes back to you, and that's when you have magnetic energy. So you are magnetic the more you are in your frame. You could say the degree to which you're in your own frame and you're present in your body is the degree to which you have magnetic energy that gravitates people in. It's not some tactic you do to get love and attract love. It's some tactic, it's this thing that allows you to feel present within your own body. And then love is just a reflection of what you already feel inside of your body. Now, the last one I'll talk about today is something that I say a lot, that I normally yell at a camera, that people say 6 months from now. That was the thing that changed everything for me. And I've seen I've had probably 10, 20,000 people listen to this rant in different ways. And very, very often I hear this is that if they do what I say, it changes everything. It literally says in this, like, when you yelled this at the Sedona live event. Basically, I yell at the camera and I say, just start. Just start. Stop waiting. Whatever it is you know you should be doing or you could be doing that'll put you on a new timeline, start. Stop waiting. Now is the moment, and now is the sign you've been waiting for. The moment you start it, the moment you are it, the moment you put yourself on a new timeline. The ego does everything it can to keep you safe in the known. And you might wait to start because, oh, there's a better time. There is no better time. There's only this moment right now. And the moment you start it, the moment you are it, the moment you put yourself on a new timeline. The perfectionism, the procrastination, the imposter syndrome, the self-sabotage, those are all ego preservation mechanisms that are keeping you safe. There is no better time than now. Now is the time to start. I started back in 2017 with daily videos. It transformed my life within a very short period of time. For 2 years, I was waiting for the right time. For 2 years, I felt not credible. I lived at my dad's house. I was selling women's shoes. How can I make videos on YouTube and talk about the law of attraction and things? Didn't make sense, but I started, and I wasn't being fake. I was sharing just what I was learning at the 9-to-5 sales job I was working because it was commission. I just share what I was learning. Start with where you are. Don't wait. So many people are like that we see that are trying to be on YouTube. You want to know what they do? Say, okay, Aaron, I'm going to make my first YouTube video. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 10 videos. Then I'm going to put out the 10 videos. And then I'm going to get feedback. No, put a video out now. And then learn and get more comfortable. And then put another video out. Don't wait. Don't batch up videos. Like, it's all procrastination because you're afraid of what people think. You think things need to be perfect. That's why I make a lot of videos, because none of them need to be perfect, because I just get better and better as time goes on and get more in a flow state. Start it, you are it. And then what happens is people start, and then 6 months later, they go, oh my God, Aaron, my whole life changed because you told me to start and I started. No wonder. It's all you got to do is start. The moment you start it, the moment you are it. Every moment you're a new you. You're deciding who you are at every moment. You're deciding who you are at every moment. And the moment you start it, you literally put yourself on a new timeline. So the message of today is to start. Stop waiting. To be in your own frame. To understand the degree to which you're in your own frame is the degree to which you are magnetic. Let go. Realize attachment is where all suffering comes. The degree to which you let go is the degree to which you be free. Realize you can be in a similar way. Find your zone of genius. When you're in that frequency, the universe brings you more and more synchronicities and more amazing experiences. Let go of what you think you should do. Let go of caring what people think of you or thinking you need to be what everyone else, whoever your mentor is or whoever you look up to. Be you. There's a guy named Alex Hormozi who's like a influencer. He's like a business influencer. And he wears like these breathe right strips over his nose in public and stuff. And as weird as it is, that's what he likes doing. It's quirky, but it's who he is and what he likes to do. He doesn't care what people think. And if anything, it's part of his brand now. And in a similar way, be weird. Be you. Don't care what people think. You can make literally anything you do that's kind of quirky. You can make it unique to who you are. I got to find out what my version of this is. I'm not sure. It's funny. I had a reading from someone named Braca Goldsmith, who's a astrologer, has a YouTube channel. She's awesome. I've had her on my YouTube channel. And I had a reading with her at the end of the year, and she's like, the planet Uranus is going over my ascendant. She's like, you're going to change up your look. And I was like, what do you mean, my hair? Like, what? You're going to change up your look quite a bit. There's something you're going to do that's going to be a little quirky, a little different, which is funny because I was like, what is that? But I look back now, and over this last year, I've got literally like 30 hours of tattoo time, and in a month from now, I go for another 2 days of tattoos. My whole arm, my whole body is slowly becoming tattooed, and that's my creative expression. And I love it. I love getting tattoos. Now, the reason I share that though is and for a while I wasn't getting tattoos because I was afraid, can I have a big audience and all this stuff with having these specific tattoos? How am I going to reach as many people? And then I realized, wait, what I preach is freedom and self-expression. And if I believe my audience is going to be as big because I have a hand tattoo or something, then basically my own limiting beliefs are getting me caught up. So be you. That's another message. Let me know if you're excited for these kind of podcasts. I do want to bring people on these podcasts to be a little bit more dynamic. It's a little bit more fun for me too, and I think you'll feel that in the energy. The people you want me to bring on, comment below the YouTube video. Subscribe to the second YouTube channel called Aaron Doughty Podcast. Maybe I'll change that title of that to the Expand Your Awareness Podcast. Other than that, what else is going on? I'm going to be doing a Coaching for Coaches. It's a Conscious Coaching Accelerators coming up soon. That is going to be, when is that? That is going to be, that's for coaches, people that are either coaches or aspiring coaches and want to learn how to get their clients better results and or feel confident and credible within themselves and or get new clients. This is basically a full-time purpose challenge just for coaches. It's completely free. It's a 12-day accelerator. It's a beta tester thing where you go through and you get coaching for free to help you to like get more clients or to establish your coaching business if you haven't done it yet. I believe many people that follow me are on the leading edge of consciousness. There are billions of people that are asleep on the planet. And this may be for you. Matt, Victor, and I, which are two of my friends, are going to be showing people how to go full-time as a coach and create that abundance. So if you want to join that, I'm going to go ahead and link that in my YouTube video at the bottom. Other than that, yeah, that's coming up in, when is it? It's coming up in like a week. Let me get the dates real quick. This is more casual, so it's no pressure for me to rush. It's going to be the 13th. It's going to be September 13th through that of the 17th. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 5-day like challenge followed with coaching sessions that equal up to 12 days. So anyways, if you want to join that, you'll see the link in the description box in my second YouTube channel, Aaron Dye Podcast. Other than that, hope you guys have a great day. Talk to you soon. Peace, much love, and namaste.